Hi there, in this video I'm going to show STARS Air Ambulance AMC employees how to track competencies using CompTracker. And it's called CompTracker because it's meant for tracking competencies. You're going to get a login information email that takes you to this public website, studentlogbook.com, which you could find by Googling CompTracker. And it has a login button in the top right hand corner. There is also a requirements page there that talks about device requirements, data entry platform requirements. There's a generic training tab with just some PDF guides, which we'll get to a little bit later, and a support tab, which we'll come back to as well. When you click the login button, it takes you to the secure studentlogbook.com website, where you put in your institution ID, which is STARS, not case sensitive. Your login ID is unique, and your PIN is a randomly generated 4-digit PIN number. So when you click login, the first thing you're going to want to do is go up to the top right-hand corner to Account Options. Up here, there is a place for you to change your PIN to maybe an old phone number, if that's easier to remember. And then there's the My Notifications tab. Your records are going to be tracked in CompTracker, and they're going to live there. It is possible for somebody to come and delete your records or sign them off in your absence. And if I was in your position, I would choose Immediate Notifications. That's the first thing you want to do when you get your login information. Make sure you're subscribed and save. And then you can come to the top left-hand corner to the Progress tab, which is just refreshing the website as if you just logged in. We're going to look at creating and submitting records using 3 different data entry platforms, including the website, and the iPad and the iPhone app. There'll be an Android app coming along soon enough, but currently it's just Apple devices. We'll get back into that in a minute though, because here we're going to talk about the program is the AMC Employee Proficiency Program in the STARS Air Ambulance Institution. There are courses within a program, and then there are what we call practicums. It's just an old generic CompTracker term. Don't let it throw you off. It's just a way to divide up a course into sections. So we have the AMC skills, there's some attendance tracking. It's all done through the competencies tab. CompTracker uses 3 different record types, but not all of them have to be used. Lucky for you, we're just using competencies right now, though that could change in the future. The practicum drop down here is actually a filter that determines what you see in the student progress page. Your name will appear here. We only have a competencies section in the overall tab, which is a really high level view of your progress and completion. And then there's the competencies tab where your records will be kept, and where you can go to find them if you're looking for your data. Everything you'll be working with in CompTracker is just electronic records of things you've already seen. There's an intubation skills here. For example, this grid here is a little bit scary at first, but it's really easy to understand once I explain it. If a row is white, it means there are 0 requirements on it. If it has requirements that are remaining, it will be this reddish color. And if requirements have been met, meaning there are 0 remaining because there have been records signed off as approved, then the row turns green. If you want to get to your data, just remember that the overall tab is a really high-level view. The competencies tab is about halfway there. And if you want to see the data, you simply click on the ID, and it will take you to the competency details page, where you can see any data that has been created under this ID intubation. Here's one that has been approved, signed off already, and here's one that is waiting to be signed off. These are the different states that a record can be in, and we'll talk about the workflow of it all. You can create a record and just save it. It will be in a created state. Nobody will know about it unless they stumble across it by accident going through your competency details page or whatever. But you have to assign it to somebody, an assignee, and then you're going to click Submit, and that changes the status from created to pending. So you can see the difference between the electronic method and the paper method. Where in the paper world you might take something out of a book, a form, you might call it a form. It has fields like patient type. You fill some things in, you hand it to somebody else, they sign it off. It might travel from one location to another and then go into a filing cabinet. In CompTracker, things never change location. They're always going to be in the same place. It's just the status that changes. Competencies can be signed off as approved or not approved, meaning that you've attempted it, but you didn't perform well enough, so there has to be a history tracked of that, but you still get the opportunity to try it again. And I believe that only applies to some competencies. And then there's also a deleted status. It used to be called recalled, but we moved to deleted. We hold on to deleted records in case they need to be reverted back to their previous state. So if something was created twice and should have only been created once, which happens from time to time, you can delete one. But if something is deleted by accident, there's nothing to worry about. It's really hard to make a mistake in CompTracker that can't be fixed. One thing to point out here is there's a status filter. So if you are looking for a deleted record, you might have to click that status drop down, and that's how you can find deleted records. When creating a record, just click the Create Record button, and then you have to choose which practicum it goes into. We'll start off with AMC skills, and there's only one record type currently, and then click Create. In order to submit a record, you have to choose an instructor or an educator. So go ahead and pick an educator. You put a check mark beside anything you want to create. You could change the number if necessary. What I like to do here is pick the performed on date from the top and just auto-fill, just because sometimes it's hard to line up, but it's really quick to do that, even if you're just picking one. And it's still only the ones with the check marks that are getting created. Note that you can also search for items, and the default here is incomplete, meaning that it's only going to show competencies by default that have requirements are not met yet. Or if there are no requirements set on it, then it shows by default. If you need to go beyond minimum requirements, you won't find the record in this list. You have to change the filter here to all or complete. And then the items will appear. These filters are important to understand because they appear on the mobile apps as well. The mobile apps and the website function basically the same when it comes to data collection, but when it comes to showing your data, you're going to want to use the website because competencies that have been signed off already don't appear currently on the mobile apps just because of screen size and hardware restrictions and stuff like that. Although that could change with a future version of the apps. When you've selected what you want to create, click the Create button at the bottom. Just wait a second for the page to reload and show your created state competencies, which you can also find again in the Competency Details page under the Competencies tab, and you can even skip there by clicking these links over here. You can delete or submit one at a time, and you can do the same with all of the competencies on the page. If you want to just submit one, then you would just click that submit button there. So I'm going to fill in these fields. These are just drop-down fields. It's possible that these could change in the future. There could be more fields added. There could be fields removed. Items in these drop-downs could change. You're going to find different field types as well, like this text field here where you can just type into. If you click Save, you can come back to it later and finish it off, and these things will still be in there. Or else just click Submit, and that one has been submitted successfully. So we're just left with the one on the page now. Now I'm going to hop over to the mobile apps, and we'll have a look at the same process and talk a little bit more about it. This one here is the iPad app. This is the iPhone app. If you're searching for it, tap on the App Store and search for CompTracker. And you'll notice that there is a CompTracker X and a CompTracker. Only use one at a time. Don't use two apps at the same time. I'm showing two apps on one device just because it's possible and it makes the video recording a little bit easier. But don't use two apps on the same device. And if you have an iPhone and an iPad, for example, you can load the app onto both devices, but we recommend against that, just because things get a little bit complicated when it comes to syncing one device and not the other and records going missing. If you're going to use it on your iPad and then your iPhone, delete it from your iPad, and then load it onto your iPhone. But be very careful because we have to talk about syncing data. I'm going to step into the iPad app right now. It's the same login information you would use on the website. Here, if I tap menu, I can see the same practicums that we saw on the website. And here is the sync button right here. This sync button will send data from the device up to the website, and then it wipes out the device's database, the app's database, and then it pulls everything from the website back to the device, so all of your data matches in both locations. If you have unsynced data and your device is broken or lost, that data cannot be recovered. It's important that you sync before and after each shift because there can be setup changes or new users associated with your account. So when you switch user, you might not find somebody, but if you would have synced, you would find them in that case. And you want to sync before shifts just to make sure that the software is working properly. And of course, sync as soon as you can after shifts. Don't wait days if you don't have to, because your data is obviously very important to you. And then you probably want to come and check the website to make sure that your data is there. So I'll just sync right now just to make sure that everything is the same in both locations, in case I hadn't done that recently enough. And then I'm going to tap menu. You can also rotate the screen with the iPad and get a slightly better view of things. So I'll tap on the AMC skills. Here is the info and summary, very much like the overall tab on the website. Tap on competencies, and here is one that has been created but has not yet been submitted. I'm going to tap on it and click the delete icon there so it's gone. If I don't sync, the website still thinks it exists. Now I'm going to hit the little add button down here, and it's going to give me the same list we saw on the website when we were creating. So I can scroll through this list, I can search, and here is that incomplete, complete, and all filter. There's the areas filter and the performed on date. If you did this yesterday, if this record should have been created yesterday, but you weren't available or your device wasn't ready for some reason, and you're creating it today, make sure you just pick yesterday's date there. And then you can go ahead and search for something. Let's just type safety in here and see what comes up. Okay, so there are a few that have the word safety somewhere in the name or description. I'm going to come over here and tap on safety. I'll tap out of there first and tap on safety AW139. I'm on the competencies tab, so I can go ahead and hit the add button. And I have 2 items to choose from here. So I will tap on one, and there are no fields in this one to fill in, so that's an easy one. Great for demonstration purposes. Okay, now I can tap submit, and we're choosing the approval destination. This is a very important concept to understand. Approval destinations could be your handheld device or the website. If you're planning on getting something signed off on your device, you have to pick handheld, and then you're going to submit it, and you're going to hand your device over to the approver. So the educator is going to pick their name when you tap switch user, and they'll get logged in and go to the sign-off process. If you pick handheld and submit and sync your data, the data will go to the website, but the assignee does not have access to it from their My Activities box. On the website, the My Activities box for non-student accounts, there are actually links here that take them to anything that's assigned to them. If I pick website approval destination, find my instructor and tap submit, and then tap switch user, the person appears here, but there are no pending records for them to sign off. Also, because I haven't synced yet, the assignee doesn't have access to it. So I have to tap the sync button. And then my instructor will know that there is something to be signed off. They'll sign it off, and then you can come and click the Progress tab, click Overall, or the Competencies tab. You'll see your completion increasing because the numbers have moved from the remaining column to the approved column bringing your competency completion up towards 100%. Strength will come down from 100% for anything signed off as not approved. We'll get the iPhone app going. Tap on the student. Find the practicum that you want to create the record in. There's the info tab here, that's the info tab. And if I select competencies and hit the add button, then I might have to, I don't see anything, so maybe if I hit complete, oh, there they are. Some have been signed off for demonstration purposes. So I can tap on one and add one. And then I'm done so that I can go to the list of created competencies waiting for submission. If I had more than one, I could uncheck them and just submit one at a time, but anything with a check mark will get submitted to the person in this step. Here is the approval destination selection. If I pick website and submit, it is now waiting to be signed off. Of course, I have to sync to get it to the website, so I just hit the sync. My data is now going up to the website. It's wiped out and everything comes back down from the website, and my data can be found safe and secure there. Of course, I have to have the right practicum selected, or else I won't find that data in the Competencies tab. And that's pretty much all you need to know about CompTracker, basically. There is a Reports tab that is up here, and now I have the Reports tab. So in here, we just have some basic reports. These competency reports have the same data. They're just probably sorted or ordered differently depending on, like if I picked practicum, it's going to show me alphabetically by practicum, and then it's going to show me the competencies. By area, it's just slightly different. By ID is just like the competencies tab. Without student details means it doesn't show your name on it. Global records tracking is something fun to tinker with. Remaining requirements report is helpful, but you have everything already on your overall page and your competencies tab. But this could provide you with something handy to print out. Record type all, we only have competencies, it doesn't matter. Just click Control P here, or find print in my menu. It automatically wants to save it as a PDF document, and then I could email it to myself or print it, but we tend to avoid printing things these days. There's actually going to be another section here called Custom Reports in the future for mapping monthly and quarterly requirements, just some custom reports. It's our goal in CompTracker support to make sure you have the best CompTracker experience possible. If you're having some kind of issue or question, we don't necessarily know about it, don't hesitate to email support@studentlogbook.com or give us a call on our toll-free number. Emails and voice messages that we receive turn into CompTracker support tickets, which we follow up on until they're closable. You may want to check the training generic one-page PDF documents that are available here. Here's a student quick start guide. Those are for employees in your case, but they're generic. They're not tailored to your program. One thing that CompTracker users are starting to realize is that following us on Facebook is a great way to get notifications about software updates or notifications, maybe a server is going to be down, but also for CompTracker support. If you have a question and it's outside of support hours, we have a pretty good track record of responding fairly quickly, even later at night. It's not a CompTracker promise or guarantee, but it does tend to happen fairly well. I highly recommend following us if you use Facebook while you're using CompTracker, and if you don't need to use CompTracker anymore, you don't need to follow CompTracker. It's not for our popularity, it's for your CompTracker support. Thank you very much for watching, and happy tracking.